The reason why I chose to serve a mission, um, well, actually, I mean, I was always kind of, I guess, no, I guess growing up, I always knew I was going to go on a mission. But when I hit my teenage years, I wasn't exactly sure. I didn't really know where my beliefs were. And I became kind of doubtful of whether or not I was going to go. But when I graduated high school, I kind of hit a point where I was deciding what I wanted to do with my life, and I kind of just decided that I wanted to know for sure if the church that my family followed, I wanted to know if it was the right thing. Um, so I did everything that I could just to find God and do everything that I could to find the truth. And I feel like for myself, I was able to gain that faith to know that this church is something good, that it's something that can help me to have a happy life with my own family. So I decided to go on a mission, and from there I went to Australia, and my faith has increased ever since. When I decided to go on a mission, I sent all my papers and my application into the church headquarters, and I had to get all of my physicals and get my wisdom teeth out and everything to prepare for that. And so I sent it in, and they just looked at all my information, and then they decided that they wanted to send me to Australia. And the way that they did that is that they just sent an envelope in the mail, and it arrived here, and I just had my family with me, and we all opened it together. And it's really actually quite exciting because my dad, when he was my age, he served in Australia as well, and it's actually pretty rare to be called to the same place as someone close to you like that. So we were really excited for that. But as far as like preparing for my mission, I think a lot of it was just spiritually, just trying to prepare, and emotionally too, because being away from home for 2 years, it's a hard thing. So I kind of just like made sure that I was emotionally ready to go, which it's not really something that you can really prepare for, but yeah, I think just spiritually I did my best to keep close to God so that I can be able to have that comfort before I went. So, as a missionary, you run into a lot of different kinds of people. Some people can be very nice, very friendly, but you can also have some people that are very rude. And most of the time, it was a lot of friendly people, but there was some instances where some people were pretty rude to us. I remember one time, me and my companion, we were going door knocking just to talk to some people, and we went to this one house and knocked on the door, and this guy inside just yelled, "Who is it?" And we said, "Oh, it's the missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints." And he just yelled, "Go away." And we were like, "Okay, well, do you know anyone else that might be interested?" And then we just hear him yelling and just cussing, and we just started to walk away from the house. And as we went to the next house, we heard him come outside, and he banged the door. He closed the door real hard, and he started to come out into the street. And then he like got up in our face and everything, and he was definitely on something. He didn't look quite sober, so he didn't really do anything. He just kind of got in our face and started yelling at us, but we kind of just moved on from that. Yeah, so that's a time when someone was really rude to us. It was actually kind of weird because like at the beginning of my mission, the first time that I like got a negative response from someone, I was really sad. Like I got really depressed, and I actually myself started to doubt everything about the church and all of that. But I just kept pushing on, and near the end of my mission, every time that someone kind of rejected me, I kind of got more of a fire to go find someone that would accept, So yeah, I guess it just kind of changed as I went throughout the mission. So as a missionary, we're doing everything we can to help the people that we are around, trying to serve them. And the best way that we can help people is by giving them the message that we have to share about the gospel and how it makes us happy. So we call people that are interested in our message investigators. And I had a lot of investigators throughout my mission. And I'd just like to share a little bit about one investigator that I had. Her name was Hala, and her husband was a member of the church, and he wasn't really involved, but he started to come back to church. But Hala, she wasn't baptized or anything. She grew up, I think, Catholic, and they're from Tonga, so they're I just love Tongans. They're really good people. And they had a little son named Nathan that I loved a lot, and they called me Uncle Acker too. So they're a really special family. But when I met this family, we were teaching Hala about the gospel, and I was in this area for about 4 months where they were living, and we would just continue to teach Hala and do everything that we can to help her to become a member of the church, so that she can be able to have the same blessings as her family. And we did everything that we could, but she didn't really get there. She didn't get to that point where she fully committed. So I eventually left the area. I was assigned to a different area, but I just loved them so much, and I really wanted to go back to that area so much. And I think God knew that, because so I left that area, but the next time that I was called to a different area, I went back to that family's area, which was a huge blessing. And when I got back, we kept teaching her, and she was baptized, and they also had another child. They had another son, and I was also able to see them get married as well. So a lot of different things happened that I was able to witness with them. So I feel very close to that family. So they were very special on my mission. So obviously I was across the world from my family. I was in Australia and they were here in Colorado. So being away from home for 2 years was pretty hard, because it wasn't like I had contact with them all the time. I was only able to email them every week. And then the only time I was able to Skype them or call them was Christmas and Mother's Day. So that was, it was pretty hard. But at the same time, being a missionary, you're so busy, so you don't really have time to think about home or family and stuff like that. So I actually surprised myself. I thought that I was going to be a lot more homesick, but once I got into Australia, I was ready to go. So I didn't really have a lot of trouble with that. But there was times when I missed my family a lot and wanted to be home, just because of the circumstances that were at home. Like my dad, he had a bone marrow transplant right before I left because he has leukemia, and it all went successfully. So I was happy about that, but I still worried about him and everything. And then when I had about 6 months left of my mission, I got a call from my mission president, who was in charge of the whole mission, and he told me that my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So that kind of struck me a little bit and kind of depressed me for a little bit, but it just helped me to I guess rely on God more, because I had to get past those things so that I can be able to continue to work and everything. As a missionary, we're spreading the message of Jesus Christ and God. And for ourselves, we want to be able to truly believe it ourselves, so that we can be able to help others believe it for themselves as well. So my whole mission was experiences that led me to believe that God is real. And I think that's a big question that everyone has, is whether or not God is real, whether or not there's a life after death, if there's a path that we can take in this life that can lead us to the most happiness that we can have. And just to share one experience that I had in my mission, I was up north in Australia. I was in Alice Springs, and we had this meeting with all the missionaries, and we had the mission president, who was in charge of the whole mission, and his wife were there as well. And something that we do in meetings is we do role plays where we pretend to be we'll have two missionaries be teaching a pretend investigator. and me and my companion were called up to teach the mission president and the wife, and we started to teach them about the gospel. And the mission president's wife was really really strict, and like she kept asking us, like, why do you believe this, why do you believe this? She was being really hard, and she kind of like pushed me to a point where I had to really dig deep down to be able to tell her why I believed that God was real. And so she asked me that, and I just kept trying to convince her and tried to explain why I thought God was real. But the words that I was saying, it wasn't what she was trying to get at. What she was trying to get at is for me to dig down real deep and have like a spiritual experience to know for myself that God is real, so that she can be able to see that. So she kept pushing me until I got to the point where I just kind of broke down. I can't really explain it. I broke down and just started crying because I just felt something like different than I've ever felt before. It's nothing that I could have mustered up within myself. I felt that God was there in the room, and I just kind of shared those emotions with her. And from that moment, I've always known that God is real, because those feelings that I had, because I couldn't have been able to muster up those emotions myself. So it's kind of hard to explain, but it was an experience that I had that made me know that God was real. Coming home from my mission was definitely a weird experience, because not being able to see my family for 2 years and kind of just adjusting to real life was just weird. But I think I actually adjusted better than I thought I would. I just kind of came home, and the good thing is that I went to school right away in BYU, Idaho. So, but I think like the first few days when I got home, I was kind of like, what do I do? Like, I did it because as a missionary, like you're just out all day, and you know, you're always busy and you don't stay up late, you wake up early. So I just remember one time I was going out with some friends, and I just like felt weird. I was like, it was like 11 o'clock and I wanted to go home. I was like, guys, we're out so late. This is so bad. I remember the first time I went to the store by myself, I was freaking out. Like, I was walking through the aisles and I felt so scared. Like, I don't know, I just felt like vulnerable or something. Like someone was gonna jump me or something. I was getting towels for college, I remember that. And I called Mom just to talk to her on the phone because I wanted someone to talk to. But yeah, it didn't really take me long to get adjusted back to normal life, because I kind of was forced to, because I had to go to school, which is a lot of fun.